Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Liverpool are Premier League champions for 24-25. The video is already out on my channel. But guys, today is not about that. We're going to celebrate this next month that Liverpool are going to play their games as Premier League champions. There's going to be enough time for celebration. And still, I haven't finished celebrating, and I'm sure a lot of Liverpool fans haven't as well. But today's a bit of a different video. And Liverpool are champions. There's many players in this squad that have won multiple Premier League titles now. There's many players with their first Premier League title. So it got me thinking, why not do a video on Liverpool's squad, title-winning squad, and rank them in different categories? As you can see, some of the categories on the other side. GOAT, great, good, and not so great. So what we're going to do today is rank Liverpool's 24-25 title-winning squad and put them in different categories of importance, of goals scored, of goals conceded, importance to the team. I said before, how pivotal they've been to Liverpool's success this season. This is just based on this season. So there's some players, for example, that might be in different categories that you might be thinking they are, unbelievable and they should be in a higher category. But this is just based on this season, availability, goals scored, etc. A lot of things, red card suspensions are all going to come into this kind of collectiveness of deciding where these players are going to fit. But guys, if you enjoy the content, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Leave your comments down below of what kind of videos you want me to make. We are 30 subscribers away from 500 subscribers. Thank you very much for the continued support on the channel. It's a small margin, small milestone that I want to hit as soon as possible. I can only do it with you guys' help. You guys have been beautiful to me. Just one more push. Share it to everyone you can. But guys, let's get into it. This is the tier list. As you can see, I've already put Alisson Becker in there. So you kind of might have already know where Alisson's going. But this is the tier list. As you can see, we've got a lot of Liverpool players on there. We've got Alisson, we've got Gomez, we've got Endo, we've got Virgil van Dijk, we've got Luis Diaz, we've got Dominic Szoboszlai, we've got Darwin Nunez, we've got Alexis McAllister, we've got Mo Salah. A lot of Liverpool players are on this list. And what we are going to do is that we are going to rank these players into categories that you can see in this list. So let's get started. So the first player, as you might have already seen, is Alisson Becker. Now, I've put Alisson Becker in great. Now, he's had a phenomenal season, and Liverpool have conceded 32 goals in 34 league games this season. That's not even a goal a game that Liverpool are conceding. If you look at the rank, 32 goals conceded, 34 games. It's obviously not even a goal a game. But Alisson Becker has played 24 of those, and he's been pivotal in each and every one of those games for Liverpool. Now, the reason why I've put him in great and not GOAT, I do think he's a Liverpool GOAT. I do think he's Liverpool's best ever, modern day goalkeeper. But my reasoning for having him in great is because of his injury problems and, him not being available as much as you'd like him to be. And ultimately not being, in this team as much as you'd really like him to be. And I feel like with Alisson Becker, it's a bit of a different situation. And I do believe that he is one of, if not the best goalkeeper in the world. But just because of his availability this season, I'm going to put him in great. And that's not a knock to Alisson Becker. I do think he's a really, really good goalkeeper. And I do think he is, been very, very important to the success that Liverpool have had, especially, the last couple of years in recording a Premier League title, multiple now, Champions League. He's been very, very important to that. And I feel like Alisson is one of those goalkeepers that you just want to have. And, he is so, so important to everything good Liverpool do. So I've put him in great for that reason. Just because, 24 games, he's not played all the games this season, but he's been still very, very good. The next player we are going to go with, guys, is Joe Gomez. Now, Joe Gomez is a bit of a strange one. Obviously, he's been ruled out for the rest of the season and has not played for quite some time in Liverpool's end to the season. And look, for me, phenomenal centre-back, phenomenal left-back, phenomenal right-back, very, very versatile. He's been plagued by injuries at his time at Liverpool, and it's unfortunate because he is the longest-serving player in Liverpool's squad. He is one player that has lasted from the Brendan Rodgers era that is still here at Liverpool. Everybody in this squad is a Klopp signing, and it's actually kind of crazy to think about Chiesa, who's a Liverpool signing under Klopp. The rest of these players are all signed by Jurgen Klopp, have come through the ranks. But Gomez was signed before Klopp, and he managed to outstay Klopp, and is now here under Arne Slot. Now, I think if you kind of watch the video and understand, I think Joe Gomez has to go in not so great, and that's not really his fault. I think the service he's given Liverpool has been phenomenal. I do believe he has done unbelievable things at Liverpool. I think he's a phenomenal centre-back. I think he gives you so much. He gives you ridiculous amounts of, coverage. And I just feel like, Joe Gomez has been so, underrated. And obviously he's been unavailable at the end of the season for the run-in. But I do think not so great is probably the category that I'm going to have to put him in, because obviously he hasn't played that many games this season. And he's been kind of bit part. He's played in the cup games. He's not really started many Premier League games. He was on that run when Konate was out, and I thought he was really, really good. He played against Tottenham in that December period against Brighton. It's unfortunate that he's been injured, but, he deserves it more than anyone. And the only reason he's in not so great is because of his injury problems. Otherwise, he'd be probably in good, to be honest, because Joe Gomez across the season is quite impressive. The next player who is... I am so happy. The next player is none other than the Japanese warrior himself, Wataru Endo. And I'm going to put him in great. The reason why I'm going to put Wataru Endo in great is because Wataru Endo has not started a Premier League game this season. But when he is coming on, the game is done. He's like the see out kind of. When Wataru Endo enters the field, the 3 points are in the bag. And Arne Slot didn't fancy Wataru Endo at the start of the season, but he fancies Wataru Endo now. 17 league games this season for Wataru Endo, and he has been absolutely phenomenal. No yellow cards from this season as well. Wataru Endo, just a phenomenal player, phenomenal man. One of the best, pound for pound signings I think Liverpool have made in the last 20 years. I think we paid nothing for him. 13 million pounds from Stuttgart, came in as a stopgap signing, became so pivotal last season, the number 6 period, alongside Alexi McAllister. And even this season for Arne Slot, he's not really a ball playing number 6, but he's a competitive, working hard, puts his heart into everything, number 6 who gives his all. And I am so happy that he's got a Premier League title, because he deserves it so much. It was a dream to play for Liverpool, a dream to get that big move. He got his big move, and he has been phenomenal. Wataru Endo, you deserve it all. You're going in great. Next player, Virgil van Dijk. No discussion, no debate. The captain, the first Dutch captain ever to win the Premier League. The first captain since Alan Hansen, I believe, to lift the Premier League title, or will lift the Premier League title in front of supporters. He is the modern day centre-back that you'd love to have. He's got absolutely every asset you'd want in a centre-back. He's good in the air. He's quick. He's got a great passing range. He's got a great tackling ability. He never breaks a sweat. He's dominant in the air, dominant off corners. He scores goals. He is so, so good, Virgil van Dijk. And the best centre-back I've ever seen, the best centre-back this Premier League has ever seen. I think that Premier League title puts him in that, category of GOAT status now in the Premier League. I think he's eclipsed Rio Ferdinand, who I had as the best. He is brilliant, Virgil van Dijk. He's had another phenomenal season. A bit of a drop-off the last month or so, but generally speaking, he's had a phenomenal season. Started every single game for Liverpool this season. Recently signed a 2-year extension. There's going to be 2 more years of this dominant Dutch captain, winning Premier League centre-back, Premier League winning captain Virgil van Dijk, and he becomes the first Dutch player to ever win the Premier League as a captain. Hats off to you, Virgil van Dijk. You are a GOAT. The next person I'm going to go with, Ibu Konate. I'm going to put him in great. I think he's had a great season. Obviously, he's been plagued by injuries as well in that period, but it took him a bit of time to get back into fitness. I thought at the start of the season, he was one of Liverpool's best players. The injury didn't help, but he's had another phenomenal season. I think he has asserted himself amongst one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League now. I think he is definitely up there now, aerially dominant. His contract situation is still up in the air, but I really, really hope Liverpool get that sorted because he is so, so important to this side. The ability he has to cover that right hand side so elegantly, so quick, so good. He goes on amazing runs like Joel Matip used to do, and he's just a phenomenal, phenomenal player. And look, so, so happy with Ibu Konate. So, so happy. The next player I'm going to go with is Luis Diaz. Now, if we were basing on the last month, he goes in there, Luis Diaz, because the last month he has been phenomenal, Liverpool's best player. But I'm going to put Luis Diaz in great. I don't think he's had a great season compared to the likes of Konate and Alisson, but I think, he scored a lot of goals for Liverpool, important goals, always gives us all. Might not have the output that you want from a proper Liverpool forward, but what he does give you is tenacity. He gives you 100%, and he works his absolute socks off. And him is another player who deserves a Premier League title, and he will get a Premier League title, and he will get a Premier League medal for his contribution to this Liverpool success. And one of the better signings Klopp made in his end period at Liverpool. And I'm so happy for Luis Diaz because he deserves it more than anyone. He's had a really, really tough couple of years, with the injury and, stuff with his father. So for that reason, Luis Diaz, I'm very, very happy with you, mate. And he scored a very, very, he scored goals against some of the top teams in the league this season as well. 2 at Old Trafford against Tottenham home and away. He's just been a really, really impressive player for Liverpool in periods. And the only thing he needs to tweak is that consistency. If he matches that, he's going to be a top player. But I'm going to put him in great. The next player I'm going to use is Dominik Szoboszlai. Now, by the way, some of these can change based on categories. I'm going to put Dominik Szoboszlai in great as well. I think he's had another good season for Liverpool. And I think his output has improved. I think he has another problem of consistency. He's playing in that number 10 position, a bit more advanced this season. He's contributed quite a few goals, goals at the Etihad, goals at Spurs, goals against Newcastle at Anfield. He scored against some of the big teams in the Premier League this season. And he is also the first Hungarian to win the Premier League title. He's very, very good in the press, great ball striking. The only thing he needs to maybe tweak as well is his output a bit more because Arne Slot even alluded to it earlier in the season. I want to see more output from my number 10, more chances created from my number 10. I'm sure with time, Dominik Szoboszlai will provide that. But he goes in great. The first Hungarian to win the Premier League. I'm sure it won't be his last. Next player is Darwin Núñez. And unfortunately, it's going to be not so great. I think he's not had the greatest of seasons. I think 4 league goals he has or 5 league goals. It's not, amazing. He cost almost 85 million for Liverpool. He's the record signing for Liverpool, and it just hasn't worked from this season. I think he's missed a lot of chances. He's had off the field problems. And look, I am one of those players, not one of those players. He's one of those players that you just watch and you just want him to do so well. And he's got everything you want in the striker, bar the finishing. He works hard. He's got pace. He's good in the air. He makes the right runs, but he just misses too many chances. And for a Liverpool striker, he will win the league. And look, you can say, oh, why do we need a new striker when we won the league? He just doesn't do enough in terms of output for me as well as the Liverpool centre forward. So, look, he will not be at Liverpool next season. And 3 years he's given us, I'm very, very grateful for because we won, 3 trophies in 3 seasons if you count the Community Shield and the League Cup last season, now the Premier League for Darwin Núñez. So he's going to leave Liverpool with something. He's captured our hearts, the Newcastle game last season, but especially this season with the goals against Brentford, he scored against Aston Villa. That absolute cracker against Bournemouth in September. He's had some very, very good goals for Liverpool. That flick against Real Madrid. You look at so many goals he has scored. The brace against United, but if we're basing off this season, unfortunately, it's going to be not so great. Now, moving on to another South American, Alexis McAllister. What a player. What a player. What a season. What a bargain. What an absolute superstar. He is a superstar, McAllister. And I can't fathom the words to describe how happy I am that he plays for Liverpool, how delighted I am to see him when he's in the 11, whether he plays deeper, whether he plays further forward, whether he plays alongside Gravenberch, whether it's Endo, whether it's Jones, whoever it is, Alexis McAllister provides an absolute cracker of a goal yesterday as well. He's just phenomenal. He has been so consistent, Mr. Reliable. Liverpool have got Van Dijk in the back line who gives you that every single week. Salah in the front line. He is the guy in the midfield that gives you that no matter where he plays, who he plays with, you know what you're getting from Lexi McAllister. What an absolute superstar. And for 35 million, he is now going to be a Premier League winner. What an absolute steal. In the world of transfers and big money signings and players moving from club to club for, hundreds of millions of amounts of money, and you got a player like Alexi McAllister who cost a quarter of that. A World Cup winner, a Copa America winner, a League Cup winner, and now a Premier League champion. Alexis McAllister, El Magnifique. What a player. The next player is none other than the best player in the league, the best player at Liverpool this season, Mohamed Salah. 28 goals, 18 assists in the league alone in 34 games. 28 goals, yes, 28 goals, 18 assists in 34 games. And before yesterday, he had not scored in 60 days. And he's still pulling up those numbers. What a player. A deserved winner. He put a tweet out last May. We will fight like hell. He has carried this Liverpool team to a Premier League title. Arguably the greatest season ever seen in the Premier League. Mohamed Salah is the provider of that. Mohamed Salah is a contributor to that. And Mohamed Salah is forefront to Liverpool's title-winning season. Not only this one, not only 1920, but the ones that are going to come in the next couple of years. 2 more years of Mo Salah. Sounds like 2 more Premier League titles for me. He is a GOAT. He is the best player in the Premier League. He's Liverpool's best player. He's Liverpool's talisman. There's none better than Mo. Thank you very much, Mohamed Salah. The next player is Federico Chiesa. And again, similar to Joe Gomez, is unfortunate. He's literally played no games. He's played 4 games in the Premier League this season. All substitute appearances, accumulating to 15 minutes of football. Bournemouth, Fulham, I couldn't even tell you the other 2 teams that he came on against. It's actually upsetting me how underutilized he's been at Liverpool this season. And maybe it's the fact that Arne Slot doesn't fancy him. But you talk about, quality. He is quality. And I watch him in training. I watch the videos Liverpool out. He's always left foot, right foot in the air. He is there all the time. And you might think it's just training, but it's obviously something he's doing. He's not being in the team. And I know Arne Slot did say he doesn't like rotating his team too much, but he deserves more minutes than what he's been getting this season. He does. And look, I really hope next season he's still here and gets some more minutes, because I know how important he can be and I know how great of a player he can be. He's not injured. He scored in the cup final and he was so impressive, so sharp. Every time I've watched him this season, he's been so sharp. I just hope he gets more minutes. And the only reason he's not so great is because I can't judge him. I really can't. And it's not so great, not because of the way he's played. I just think there's not been enough of it to suggest that it's going to be, forthcoming. I think in the sample size he's given us, he's been good, but again, it's not too much to work with. So not so great. That's the only reason I'm going to put him in. Similar to Gomez, not enough games. So yeah. Curtis Jones, he goes in good for me. I think he's had a good season. I don't think he's had a great season. I think he's had an okay season. He had a great start, a little drop off, and he's dropped out of the team. But I think he's good. I think he's had a good season. I think he's contributed to Liverpool's success and his second Premier League title, his real kind of title that he's contributed to heavily. A Scouser in our team that will lift the Premier League title in a couple of weeks' time. And look, I like him. He's made his England debut this year. He's got his England goal. He's in Liverpool's team. He's a Premier League winner. What more can he ask for from Curtis Jones? And it's so nice to see another academy product winning a title with Liverpool. So Curtis Jones for me goes in good. Next player is Cody Gakpo, and I'm going to put him in great because behind Mo Salah, he's been Liverpool's most consistent attacker this season. I do believe since he's come back from his injury, he has not looked the same player. But before that, he had scored in 5 home games in a row. He scored in so many big games for Liverpool this season. You look at the teams he's scored against: Brighton away, Real Madrid in the Champions League. He scored a goal against. He scored against Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League. He scored against Man City at Anfield. He scored against Manchester United at Anfield. He's been a heavy contributor to Liverpool's success this season against some of the big sides in this league. And, he's had a great season. I think if it wasn't for his injury, he'd probably be in a bit higher. But I think great is a good return for Cody Gakpo in his first season playing in his natural position. And Arne Slot has unlocked him as probably the best left-sided player in the Premier League this season for me, Cody Gakpo. Big things to come. I know he splits opinion like Diaz, but for me, it's always been play him in his natural position and you'd see how good he can become. And Liverpool have seen the fruits of it this season. Gakpo is phenomenal. Gakpo is brilliant. Probably the best, arguably the best finisher at Liverpool in terms of, if you maybe Jota in there as well. But I think in ball striking, there's no debate that he is the best at the football club by some distance, I think, as well. Maybe him and Szoboszlai, but what a player, what a season. Another Dutch player that's going to win a title this season. Cody Gakpo. Next player I would put in is Harvey Elliott. And again, every time I've watched Harvey Elliott, I'm going to put him in good because I know he's not had many games where he's played, but every time he's come on, he's contributed with something. And he's played a bit more than Chiesa. And that's the only reason he goes in good. I think, even in the Champions League, you saw his goal against PSG. I feel like he's a danger. And he's one of those players that Slot maybe doesn't fancy, but I think he deserves success. And he will get a Premier League medal this time round. He didn't get one last time. So happy for Harvey Elliott. And I hope to see more of him come next season. Diogo Jota, I'm going to put him in not so great. He's not had a great season, unfortunately. And I think at his age, where he's at in his career, I think maybe it's best to let him go. I think injury problems have, warranted, a lack of starts for him this season. Unfortunately, since October, he's not started many league games. Obviously, it's happened quite recently where he started against PSG and he's been having a bit of a run. Started the cup final, but didn't score in any of those games. He scored in the derby, but I don't remember many games that Jota scored this season, and that's not something I've said very often speaking about this player because he always gives you something, Jota, but unfortunately he's not had the greatest of seasons, and he's been injured and etc. Maybe it's not his fault, but look, he's just been unfortunately not so effective as you'd like him to be. So not so great for Diogo Jota. Kostas Tsimikas. I'm going to put Kostas Tsimikas in good because I think, again, rotation with Robertson. I think he's played very well when he's come on. But again, it's not many games. I think he's the first Greek player to win the Premier League title. He's always given his all and he's never complained. And I think he's a great professional. And I think he's so happy. The adopted Scouser, the Greek Scouser at Liverpool. And I'm just so happy for player like Kostas Tsimikas, who's waited a long time to win one of the big ones with Liverpool. He came in when Liverpool were Premier League champions the year after they won the title. He made the Champions League final the season after that, 1 point. He won the FA Cup, scoring the winning penalty. He won the League Cup, got an assist in the League Cup final last season, and finally tops it off with the Premier League title. So I'm really happy for Kostas Tsimikas. Whether he's here or not next season is a different conversation. But the Greek Scouser is going in good for me because every time I've watched him play, he has been phenomenal. A great professional, a great player, and a Premier League champion. The next player I would like to talk about is Andy Robertson. And look, I think he splits opinion. Some people are going to put him here, but I'm going to put him in good. I think Robertson, he has been up and down the season, but what you cannot deny with Andy Robertson is his tenacity, his ability, to show his leadership skills, his work rate, his work ethic. It's always going to be there for Andy Robertson, and he's a great professional. He never lets his head drop, always gives his all. It might not be that Robertson that we know from a couple of years ago that that we signed back in 2017, and maybe he's had a bit of a drop off because Mother Nature doesn't wait for anyone. But he is a multiple-time Premier League winner, and Liverpool have never won a title without a Scottish man in their 11. So maybe it is a good omen that Andy Robertson is still at Liverpool, because he is now a multiple-time Premier League winner. Difference of opinion on Andy Robertson. I do think upgrades need to be made in that position, but I still think he can offer quite a lot to this Liverpool squad in terms of leadership, in terms of coming in for a few games. But look, we're not going to talk about that. I think he's had an okay/good season, and he goes in that category for me. Next player I'm going to put in is Ryan Gravenberch. GOAT season. And there was a statistic that I'm going to try to read out to you so you guys can actually see how good of a player Ryan Gravenberch is. And I've got it on my phone at this moment in time, and it reads Ryan Gravenberch's stats for this season. This is ranking all the DMs and centre mids this season in the Premier League. So Ryan Gravenberch, interceptions 57, first in the Premier League. Possession won 182 times, second in the Premier League. This is in terms of midfielders. Possession won in the middle third, second in the Premier League with 103. Successful passes, third with 1,583. Ball carry progress, which I still think needs some work, but 2,385 meters, fourth in the Premier League. Phenomenal stats from Ryan Gravenberch, a player that was not even in Liverpool's 11 last season, barely, especially not in the pivot that he's been playing this season, that pivot role that he's been playing alongside Alexis McAllister this season at a top level. He, for me, is the most improved player in the Premier League this season. What a player. He's been unlocked by Arne Slot, and you can see the coaching he's had from Klopp, from Tuchel, from Ten Hag, from all these top coaches now under Arne Slot. Nagelsmann at Bayern as well. It's come together and it's created this blend of magic, this Dutch genius in our midfield. There's not many players that can beat a player from a shoulder turn, evades the press from a shoulder turn, gets him out of tricky situation with a shoulder turn, a spin of the body at his height. How he does it is phenomenal, Ryan Gravenberch. And he's going in GOAT for me because I think he's been phenomenal. And I think he's had a bit of a drop-off, but I still think the season he's had has been a top season from Ryan Gravenberch. Top season. And yesterday, a great performance alongside Alexis McAllister. And I feel like he deserves all his flowers and deserves all his praise because he had a lot of doubters coming into the season. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, we didn't get the 6, and we've got the best 6 in the world, Ryan Gravenberch. Jairo. The next player is Vítězslav Jaros. He's going to go not so great just because he's not played many games. But that's the only reason. There's not much to it. He played 15-20 minutes against Crystal Palace in October when Alisson was injured, went off injured, and Kelleher was unavailable. So Jaros goes in not so great, but you can't rank him again. Next player, Kelleher. Great season. When he was in the squad, when he was in the 11, when Alisson was out, it didn't even look like Alisson. We were missing Alisson. That is how amazing Caoimhin Kelleher is. What a goalkeeper. What a number 2 that's probably good enough to be not probably, is good enough to be a number 1. He's good enough to be Liverpool's number 1. It's just unfortunate that we've got Alisson Becker. Otherwise, he'd be Liverpool's number 1. And he has played, so Alisson's played 24 games out of 34, which means Kelleher's played the rest bar 1, so that he's played 12 games, I think, in the league this season. I actually want to get that up for you just so to double check how many games Kelleher's played. I just want to get that up for you guys. Kelleher's played 10 appearances. Has he played 10 appearances? No, that's not right. Kelleher has not played 10 games in the Premier League this season. Unfortunately, I mean, he has. Okay, Kelleher has played 10 games in the Premier League this season, but, he's been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He started the cup final as well against Newcastle. He started very, very important games for Liverpool this season, and he saved a penalty in the Champions League against Real Madrid. And look, he's had a great, great season, and I'm sure he will move on in the summer and become a great number one for a very, 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 very good club, which he deserves to be. Kelleher, thank you for your service. You are phenomenal. Next player is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, he's going to go in great for me. No, he's going to go in good for me. I don't think he's had a phenomenal season. I don't think he's had a bad season. I think he's had an okay season with up and down. I think he's had a better season than Robertson, Tsimikas, Elliott. Maybe on par with Curtis Jones. I don't think he's had a great, wonderful year. Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously, he's dominated by contracts, but his creative influence on this team is not as apparent as it might have been a couple of years ago, but still a good season from Trent Alexander-Arnold. And look, whether he moves on or not is a different conversation, but I guess we'll see. But another Premier League title for Trent Alexander-Arnold. And if he leaves, he's leaving on a high. Next player, Jarell Quansah. Not so great, unfortunately. One start at centre-back in the Premier League this season. One start at centre-back. This is the opening day against Ipswich, and he's not started a game since in the Premier League at centre-back. He started a few games at right-back, but everyone thought this would be the Jarell Quansah would kick on. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened to be so. He will win the Premier League title, and look, I do think he needs to play regularly. He's got all the attributes to be a great centre-back. But unfortunately, the progress of last season has not come into this season. And the form of Konate and Van Dijk obviously haven't helped him. But look, not so great is probably an injustice to him. But I just have to put him there, unfortunately, because I don't think he's been great anytime he's played this season. And maybe that's down to him being young and lack of experience. But I'm sure that will change within good time. So he will win the title, but not so great for me for Jarell Quansah. Tyler Morton, I don't think you can rank Tyler Morton, so just going to put him in not so great. And Connor Bradley is going to go in good for me as well. I think if it wasn't for his injury problems, he'd probably be a bit higher. But again, he's had a good season. Obviously, he's not the starting right back, but anytime he's played, he's been really, really impressive for me. Bar the Nottingham Forest game, I think he is going to be Liverpool's starting right back next season. And I think there's a big future for him at Liverpool, but time will tell. And Arne Slot, who haven't got the magnet for or the Tifo for to put on, he goes in GOAT for me. First season in English football, first title for Arne Slot. I spoke to quite a few Feyenoord fans in the summer. They said you're going to love him. I absolutely love him. Arne Slot, you are a beautiful, beautiful man. To take Klopp's team and to put your imprint on it and to put a Premier League title on top of the cherry, on the icing on the cake. He's put a Premier League title on the cherry. What can I say? Thank you very, very, very much, Arne Slot, for making our dreams come true. Jurgen Klopp set the foundations, but you set the bar so, so high. In your first year in English football, you have won the hearts of all Liverpool fans. Thank you very, very much, Arne Slot. You are a GOAT. You are a Liverpool legend. Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And I'm sure I speak for all Liverpool fans that none of us even envisioned that this would have been possible. But one man made it possible, and that is Arne Slot. But guys, that is the Liverpool 24-25 title-winning squad, ranked based on their appearances, based on their availability this season, all sorts of things, goals scored. But guys, let me know what you change in the comments below. Some of these players are in categories that they shouldn't be in. I think, unfortunately, like Chiesa, Yaros, and Morton. But that's the way the cookie's going to crumble, unfortunately. And Liverpool are champions, and that's all that matters. Every single player in that little graph that you can see on your screen is a Premier League winner. And I'm a fan, and I feel like a Premier League winner. It's thanks to this squad and Arne Slot, the manager, as you can see behind me in the thumbnail. But guys, thank you very, very much for watching the video. Leave your comments down below. Do you agree with my tier list or not? Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.